Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I've imported my planting plan, and I've also turned off the some layers so it's pretty bare, and then I also have some with some more information on there. This will just kind of help me understand what things are happening, and I'll be turning them on and off as I build. So what I like to do is I like to start out with all of my ground covers. Is I'm gonna go find a good mulch, copy image address. Okay, create a new folder, call this textures. All right, and then I'm gonna go to edit, define pattern. And I'm gonna go to window, paths. I'm gonna call this mulch. And then I'm gonna go right click, make selection, 0. There, put the mulch above the AutoCAD. And then I'm gonna go edit, fill white. All right, and I'm gonna double click that. And you could actually turn off the marching ants now by hitting Apple D. And then what you could do, double click that, go to pattern overlay, select the mulch. All right, and then you're going to want to kind of zoom in the scale that you like. And actually that's not that bad of a scale, so why mess with a good thing? I'm going to go ahead and just hit OK. All right, and then I'm going to change that to multiply, and that way I could see a little bit about what's underneath it. And maybe I'm going to even drop the opacity to like 76. And the parkway is gravel, and I'm going to go to my mulch, and I'm just going to create a mask. It's because I'm kind of anticipating later on maybe some of my design changes, inverse that, and then make the mask. And then now that mulch part is out. And I'm also going to make a mask in this walkway here. I'm going to go to paths. It's really important that you double click your path and rename it flagstone walkway, right? And then now if you do that, this path will stay there forever. And then you could go back into your job at any time, and you have this like rad path. I'm gonna hit make selection, go ahead and hit 0, go to my layers, and then on my mulch here, I'm gonna go edit, fill, and then I'm gonna hit black. So we have swales and mountains. I want to make whatever's closest to you, make darker. Whatever farthest away, make lighter. Double click this and call this base mulch. I'm going to grab this and duplicate it. Mulch, bottom of swale. And then I'm going to duplicate this again. Top of berm. Let's make all these green for now. Okay. And I'm going to grab these 3, make a new folder, and call them mulch. And then I'm just going to feather out this bottom of that swale right there. And I'm just going to feather this out. All right. And then I'm going to turn on my base layer, and I'm going to rasterize that layer style. And then I could do my levels, and I can make that part lighter. I forgot to mask out this area right here, so I'm just going to delete it. And then now when I turn on that base, see how that's lighter? And then for the mulch top of berm, we're going to want that darker. I'm going to go ahead and rasterize that layer. And then I'm going to go Apple L. I'm going to go ahead and make that darker. The same way that we did the mulch, I created the gravel. I went back to the mulch path, and then I did a make selection. I hit OK. I went to layers. I created a new layer. I called it gravel. I did a pattern overlay of a gravel, painted black. The area of the mask that I wanted for the gravel. But see how in the parkway you could see a pattern, and go ahead and rasterize that layer style, but keep the old one in case you mess up and you want that mask so you have more power. And rubber stamp, hit option, and make sure that your rubber stamp is feathered a little bit, and then go ahead and grab it here, rubber stamp that out, and then go up here and then just rubber stamp out those lines. So let's start with the Senecio. All right, this one might work here. Rubber stamp out that stuff, rubber stamp that out, rubber stamp that out, rubber stamp that out, edit, define pattern, and a little box here. Senecio Serpens, go to pattern overlay, click here, and I think that's probably a good scale. Now this is a really good example. I'm going to go ahead and put it to normal. You see how these have these like weird repeating things. Copy this layer. I'm going to put these into a folder. I'm going to go ahead and rasterize my rubber stamp tool, and look at that. It totally looks like it takes all of that out. That to multiply so we could see through it. Mask that. Come over here, and then let's really feather this one. Let's make this feather like 8%, so it's really soft. Normal. Let's put our gravel on. Let's put our mulch on. Let's mask that a little bit more there. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to put boulders. And all right, I like these. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move really fast here, and I'm just going to kind of and then I'm going to put a drop shadow, and this is what our plan is looking like. Look, it's a Arizona planting plan. Throw 2 fucking agaves in there and you're ready to go. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to do the Moulin Bergea, which is one of the most difficult plants to do in an illustrative plan, or even in a section, because it's so soft and airy. The Moulin Bergea that we have in here is pink mouli, which oftentimes people will describe as like cotton candy. So we're going to see if we could actually make cotton candy work for this. going to make the hardness like 3%. I want it really soft. And I'm going to erase that, create a new layer, edit, fill. See how I have it like this bright green, the cotton candy layer, right? And I'm just going to feather out this Moulin Bergea, this cotton candy, right? And I'm going to go ahead and rubber stamp out that little shadow part there. So that looks good. I'm going to turn off that layer. These are all the MUH. Those are the Moulin Bergeas. So I'm going to scale it. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger than what it is. And grab all these Moulin Bergeas, right click, and I'm going to merge those layers. I'm going to get my rubber stamp and I'm going to take out those little shadows like that. Go to my paintbrush, 600 hardness. Yeah, let's do 3%. That way if I want to bring it back a little bit, I can. And then I'm just going to soften this Moulin Bergea like that. Now we have a really nice, beautiful, soft Moulin Bergea there. Let's turn off some of the layers so we could see what it looks like. I could probably soften it up a little bit more there. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to create a Arbutus Marina, but we want a top view. But we can't find any top views of an Arbutus Marina. Now, if you're doing a plan view illustrative, chances are you're also doing an elevation or a section. So what we're going to do is take our time and cut out a really good Arbutus Marina. It'll look something like this. I'm going to copy this. Okay, so now I'm going to go image, canvas size, %, and I'm going to do like 600, creating copies. So the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to turn this here, right? And then I'm going to scale it kind of to cover that portion there. A little bit easier. I'm just going to kind of delete that like that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab these four. So I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to get my generic silhouette part there. Here, the hardness, I'm going to go ahead and make it 100. Make this a little bit bigger. Hit option. Fill this in a little bit. Let's rotate it. Let's kind of find some branches. That we could do is grab this, turn this around, there, merge layers, and then there's your Arbutus Marina. Okay, so now that you got your Arbutus in your plan, go ahead and scale it and place it where it needs to be. What we're going to do is we're going to drop the opacity. Let's try 50. Let's try 30. And I made one called tree only. Click here. I'm going to hit delete. Okay, see that? Right? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click it, a color overlay. It's at 20%. make it 100%. Now we have an outline of a tree there. We need one more ground cover. There's that ground cover right there. It's not the best, but I bet I could make it work. And I'm going to get my rubber stamp tool. I'm going to kind of take out any little things. And then I'm going to make a square about larger than the area. Do pattern overlay. Pick the strawberry. Hit OK. I'm going to mask it. So I'm going to go ahead and mask it. I know that I'm going to want my strawberry underneath my Moulin Bergea. I have this Aeonium. Same techniques we've been using. I got the penstemon. Grab that. Let's change that to like 80%. Same thing I did with the salvia. Let's just added some agaves. Put a little drop shadow on there. I added some Blonde Ambition as well. Let's see, where's that? Blonde Ambition. So you could see it's a really soft there. And then this yarrow, I just clipped it out and duplicated it a whole bunch.